Thank you, Cathaoirleach. Well, firstly, I want to welcome all the guests here. I want to acknowledge the ministers that are here. I want to acknowledge Jerry's family, husband and friends that are here. I want to acknowledge the great Fine Gael support that is here. And I want to acknowledge all of you. But first I want to thank you, Leader of the House, Father of the House, and in the Chair, and a great honour it was. When I was first nominated to contest these Senate elections, I was nominated by the following: David Norris, Fergal Quinn and Sean Barrett and Maureen O'Sullivan. And they're all independent voices and they're all independent choices and they're all exemplars in their own field, and I was greatly honoured to do so, and again the second time. I came up this morning, as I normally do. I'm usually in here at 7:30, and I came out of my house this morning and about 5 to 7, get into the car, it was frosty, and get into my car, and of course the bips go RTE News at 7 a.m. as I'm coming in here. And one of the first leads on the news story was the fact that the beginning of the transition of government was going to take place today, and the rest will happen tomorrow. And it said that Senator Jerry Buttimer would be elected as Cathaoirleach, and the last Cathaoirleach would be Senator Mark Daly. And so that is more than likely, it is true, I mean it's predicted, but so I'm not naive, I'm a pragmatist. I believe in collaboration with people, I believe in working with people, and I think that's a core essential for the job. But I'm a realist to know that the government is a large government. It is a tripartite coalition. It engineers and mobilises itself in a very professional way, and that's politics. Last night I received 2 or 3 calls from people who said, why don't you not pull out of the thing, don't run? And I said, no, it's important that we have elections. Politics is about elections. But you will lose. And I said, but no, quite frankly, I believe myself, and I think that goes for most of us if we're honest, we learn more from loss than we do from gain. I think that's important. And if we were never to go for election, none of us would be here. If we were to think of defeat all the time, we would not venture out beyond ourselves, beyond our own what we might perceive as our limited capacity. So therefore I think it's important, genuinely important, to have an election. Article 9, I think, of our Irish Constitution speaks of Shanadair and its right, sole right, an exclusive right to order its business and to select or choose by whatever means our standing orders permit to select a Cathaoirleach of the Seanad and later on by motion a Leas-Chathaoirleach. But again, it's within our standing orders. What is somewhat disappointing and worth noting for those listening in here today is that we do not have a secret ballot. For some reason in Shanadair, we have no secret ballot to elect our Cathaoirleach and our Leas-Chathaoirleach. And people will say why, and there are many reasons, and I'm not going to speculate them. But we know that in the lower house, the Count Caller was elected by a secret ballot, and indeed the Leas-Chathaoirleach, Count Caller, was elected by a secret ballot. And particularly I want to focus on the Leas-Chathaoirleach because that threw up a surprise, because people had the confidentiality of the ballot box. They had primacy and privacy, and they didn't have anyone looking over their shoulders, and they didn't have anyone applying a whip to what they may wish to do. And that's something that we need to challenge ourselves going forward in this House. You know, it's not all about the status quo. It's not all about shoring up support for the political establishment of the day. And when you further look into the foundation of the state, and particularly the foundation of the Seanad, there is no provision for the breakdown in political affiliations in this House. That's something that's sort of come along by precedent and establishment, and it suits various people to have it that way. But there is no requirement, ever, in relation to the Seanad, that it should form. That's something that's developed, and I just think that's an important point. So I don't want to diverge too much to say that I believe it's important that we have choice in politics. I think if you look significantly at the independents that have served this House from its foundation, they are of a very high calibre, as many are of others. It's very hard sometimes to quantify what independents are, but they're not whipped. That's simply the matter. They're free. Some people in this House will make a decision today because they, quite frankly, they're in a political structure, and I understand, respectfully understand, you have to have some sort of coordination of how you operate your organisation and your party. But there are others on this side of the House that we can vote for who we like, and we walk away, and there's no ramifications. There's no one threatening to throw us out. There's no one saying we're not towing the line. And I think that's an important point about independence. So I think it's important that we have participation. I think it's important that we have elections, and that is why I've stood in a local election, and I stood here, and little did I ever think, when I came in, even here today, well, one, I never thought I'd be elected to Cathaoirleach, and I was. And furthermore, I was elected a second time. And it's not really about politics, it's about people. It's about winning the hearts and minds about people. It's about sitting around a table with people. It's about breaking bread with people. It's about fellowship. It's about sharing. It's about building relationships. And I've always tried to do that. And many minister comes in here and I might have a disagreement in terms of policy, but I will always respect this House. I will always respect a minister of state or the officials in this House. They serve this House well and with distinction. And I know each and every one of us, we bring, in many ways, we see the world from where we stand and our experiences within it. We bring those experiences through our life. You know, I'm not too sure if you can distinguish between personal and political, because it's our very being. Most of us have been politicised by experience, by what's happened to us many, many years ago. And I think that's important. And I never would want to come in here and think that I lost where I came from. If I was honest, and I am honest, I'm going to tell you this, the day of being elected to Cathaoirleach was not my greatest political achievement. My greatest political achievement for me personally was the day I was elected to Dunleary Rathdown County Council. The town that I grew up in, through certain sets of circumstances, brought me there. And I chose to continue to live there and still live there. I walk by that town hall nearly every day, and that for me, the closest, the greatest political achievement for me was being there, was that connectivity and that acceptance and that acknowledgement of the people that live around me, my citizens. So I have no doubt in saying that Jerry Buttimer is an exceptionally good candidate. Not here to promote the candidate, but he is an exceptionally good candidate. I worked with him in the OSCE. We travelled in various parliamentary delegations. We worked well here. He was the leader of the House, I was the leader of the independent group, and we worked well. And he's a pragmatist too. So there are a lot of similarities between the pair of us. And I think when you're passionate about politics and what you believe, there's a certain amount of volatility around all of that. But that's all part of it. So look, what I want to say is I'm happy, willing and ready if people want to elect me for the job. But I'm equally happy to be a follower, to collaborate with other people, to support other people. And as I say, I have no doubt on this occasion that Jerry Buttimer will be the victor today. But that's the numbers, because it is a numbers game. But I think it is important, and I leave you with this. I think it's important that we don't all go around the next 6 months, 9 months, a year doing nothing. I will leave you with one challenge. Let's commit ourselves to Shannon reform. Let's open it up to everyone outside this House. This is not an elitist little club and shouldn't be. And I'd like to think within weeks and months, we will set the task of seeking to provide in our standing orders that the election of Cathaoirleach and Leas-Chathaoirleach of this House will be by secret ballot. No one has anything to fear. It makes clear sense that that is the way we go. I finally say, as I say, I wish Jerry well, I wish the election well, and I also wish the senators here well, who really do a good job. And despite what people might think, we're quite a close bunch of people. We defend this House, we always have. We recognise and respect the institution that it is. I want to wrap up by saying I want to thank again the staff. I know I said it yesterday. I want to thank you, Leader and Deputy Leader. I particularly want to thank Mark Daly. He was a man that stretched this House. He opened up new possibilities. There was no need for constitutional changes or reform. He got up into that chair. And I say this in a really positive way for the next Jerry. Hopefully you'll be in. It looks like you will. I say this, that use your imagination, and you've loads of it. But Mark Daly set an example in this House. He led this House. He elevated the status of this House. He applied himself with energy and enthusiasm. And it is important, because in politics there's so much, sniping at the edges. I want to say it clearly here on this floor. He did a great job, and whoever succeeds him, will have a particularly difficult following. But again, I want to say to you, the Father of the House, it's great to see you in the chair. You're one of my greatest political heroes, and I thank you for chairing here today. Thank you.